Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at position adjustments with ggplot2 and the tidyverse. Let's get started. So first off, let's go on and grab the library and let's get our tidyverse going. And so as we started out with before, we were doing some bar plots here, and we're going to go on and get our first plot going in here. So here we're going to do our Geom Bar here, and we want our mappings, our mapping here with our aesthetics. X here is going to be cut, and we're going to have our color to also be cut. And so, whoops, not that cut, this cut. And so now you can see here that there are some nice colorings kind of happening, okay? It's not exactly what you would expect to be happening, okay? So it has this colorful outline. Again, I don't even know if you guys can really see that. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on this. So let me zoom in so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. You can see there's a little bit of a green border going on there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So here there's a green border, here there's a blue border, over here there's a yellow border, somewhere down here there's a purple border, and these really don't show up very well, okay? So the first thing that I would suggest then, okay, instead of using color in here, go on and change this to fill. Oops. Fill. And here you actually get everything colored in nice and well, and here you get all of these solid colors coming in. Now, another thing that you can do in here is actually go through, and besides having in these solid colors in here, okay, we can go through and add in something a little bit more, let's call it maybe a little bit more demanding, okay? So, because again, remember this color, we are covering, we have cut and cut in here for our color matches up with our actual x-axis, okay? So then that's why we get these full color, fill colored schemes going on. Now what we can do also though, is instead of having our fill also to be cut, let's change this to something like clarity. Okay, and notice now, we're actually having a stacking going on, okay? And the stacking is going to be performed automatically by the position adjustment, okay? Which again is going to be specified by the position argument. And again, this doesn't, it's not actually anywhere in here, it's just kind of automatically done for us, okay? Now, if you don't want to have a stacked bar chart, okay, there are three different options that we can do. We can change, for example, and let me go on and do these individually in here. So for example, we have our fill as clarity, and then let's add in, let's actually go through, and I'm going to take this whole chunk out here. I'm going to move it over here, and then I'm going to put you down here. All right, so our first function in here is our ggplot. We have our data is going to be diamonds. We have our mapping aesthetics here is going to be X is going to be cut. Fill is going to be our clarity. Now we want to actually kind of play around with some of the arguments inside of the Geom bar. So let's have our alpha here to be 1/5, and our position here to be identity. We'll run this. Yep, and what? Oh, I accidentally have a new line in there. Okay. There we go. So if you see here, now we grabbed a little bit, you can actually kind of see how the stacking mechanism actually works here, okay? And there's this nice kind of, again, everything's a little bit see-through. And so at 20% at that, but maybe that's not what you really want to do. Maybe you want to go through and change this to, let's maybe change the fill here to NA. Okay, let me pull this up. And notice it actually kind of just gets rid of everything. Okay, this isn't great in this instance. Okay, so we need to maybe, let's go through and let's see if we can maybe make something a little bit more cool. Let's go on and try something else in here. What would we like to try? Let's go on, let me clear this out and do something like ggplot data is going to be diamonds. We want our Geom bar in here. We have our mapping. Here we want our aesthetics. X here is going to be the cut. Fill here is going to be clarity. And our position is going to be fill. And we can go through and take a look here. And we can see here that there is this nice stacking, and everything is going to be filled completely with this position fill. And you know what? I'm going to go back and do one more, because I showed you guys how to make everything kind of disappear with the fill in A. So let me rerun this as fill in A. And the reason that this actually became in A in here, basically everything is empty, is because we have this fill in A here and we have a fill clarity here. But I would actually like to go through and let's change this up to color as well here. And we can see here that now we have this nice outline of each of the boxes. I personally find it very hard to read and it's almost offensive to my eyes. So I would suggest you guys at least fill it with some colors. So let's go back, and after we've talked about the position and fill argument, let's also talk about the position and dodge. So I'm going to go back to fill, and instead of for our position argument, we're going to say dodge here. And this is actually probably my preferred way whenever I am plotting things out. Okay, I don't necessarily like stacked because there's a tendency for people to not truly understand how to read stacked bar charts. But if we use dodge, everyone can really clearly see what's going on. However, sometimes there is a lot of information happening here, particularly when we have so many different clarity items here. You may want to change this up to something else. But again, I personally find this to be a very clean way of displaying things. Now let's go on to a couple other, maybe some interesting aesthetics and some positioning that we can do in here. And let's go on and do ggplot data here is going to be diamonds. Oh, you know what? And let's actually go back to our MPG data set here, and let's do something like geom point here, mapping. We want X to be our displacement, Y here to be our highway, miles per gallon, and now I'm going to just run this. All right. Now, one thing that is obvious here is that we actually have more observations than what we're seeing here. Okay, so if we look at if we glimpse our data, we have 234 points, okay, happening here. So there is a little bit of, you can see that there's a little bit of uniformity in here, all right? So notice there's some lines in here that are really in there. So what we can do to take care of that is something very cool. We can add just a little bit of error into our plots. And so if we do this position is equal to jitter, it adds just a little bit of noise to the data. And notice now, each of those points has a little bit of noise in it. So then we can see that there's actually these clusters popping up in here. And I find that to be extremely useful when you're having some issues with overlapping points. Okay, and again, you could always use something like your alpha as well, but this jitter really does kind of push the line with what we're wanting to see. So if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.